Watch out like drones. You can see them because they're about the size of a sofa. They're not massive. These are big, they have 50 kilos. They are big. Massive, aggressive field. Hello, everybody. Sorry, just chatting away back here. Just turn it up a little bit. Yeah, just check the volume's working. We've got Bruce. Say hello for me, so I know it's working.
I mean, even like.
Oh, no, you're on mute. Sorry, just unmute yourself.
There we go. Hello, evening all. Good.
Can you hear Amanda if she says hello?
Hear me?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, brilliant. That's good. That works better.
Yeah, it's quite a few on that.
Oh, the Lane's just here. You can't see her. She's just literally just off camera.
Hi, Elaine.
There's a few more people coming in. We're just eating pizza and chatting at the moment.
Bruce just reminded.
So let somebody else in.
I know what you're saying, Holly. Apps.
What was that?
Yes.
Oh, yes. I'm looking about that. Swearing on the radio.
Needless to say, one of the people that did it once is no longer employed.
It's quite serious, isn't it?
That was something that happened on a.
It's very serious. So just don't ever swear on the radio, anybody, Bruce. I mean, anybody.
I'll just say Foxtrot.
So, yeah.
It's when you slip up and you just have to keep going. It's a slip of the tongue. Just keep it rolling.
And it never happened.
Yeah.
No,
Nothing heard.
nothing heard. No.
I did it once in long time ago, and then quick, and I was quickly sort of, I'm so sorry, I didn't
transmitted that. Yeah.
Oh no, I did. Oh, I was trying to fix because I was swearing about somebody who just cut me up.
Then you chased them, did you?
Yes.
Please tell me you chased them.
I gave hot pursuit. Trying to get the red shade noses up at Cranfield. And it just flew straight across me on the climate, I think.
Did you file on them?
I said something. No. I just swore at them instead on the radio.
GMFO, I know where you live.
I think the controller said you shouldn't really use that sort of language.
This is very true.
Whoops, sorry.
Alternative phrasing.
But they really did cut me out,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. There's obviously quite a few people. I have to keep not looking at my laptop. There's quite a few people here you can't see just around the corner. But yeah, thanks everybody for turning up. Thank you, Amanda, for coming.
No, you're very welcome.
Yeah, it's lovely to see you and speak to you in person rather than just on the radio.
Person behind the voice.
Yeah, that's it. And Amanda's joined us on quite a few occasions, and what we normally do is rather than have a set piece, it's just more somebody asks us a question or we can start talking about forensics, etc., those sorts of things, and see where it takes us. So does anybody have a question for Amanda or at the moment? Just start with an easy one. Yeah, nothing too difficult.
Right, go on, I'll kick off.
Oh, okay.
If you're asking for a zone transit, do you have to specify VRP to VRP, or can I just say, I would like to go from southwest to northeast and go overhead? And how open are you to that kind of transit request?
So we're open to transit requests all the time. You talk about Luton here specifically,
Yeah,
or
actually more Stanford, but because I don't go to Luton with a heart.
so Stanford, we are open to it. It will depend if you're looking to go, which direction you wanted to go again.
Well, let's say southwest to northeast. Really.
That will put you straight up the centre line. So that's possibly going to be a little bit more difficult. If you do request zone transit and we can't give you the routing that you'd like, we will come up with an alternate just to deconflict you and climb out the final approach route. But we are open to it. If we are busy, it may be a little bit more difficult. It may be a no, depending on our workload and our workload. But don't ask, don't get. They've always asked. If you do have VRPs in mind, you can specify either by Great Canfield, so we know where to walk from. But yes, always ask. Yeah,
that's a good point. On our sort of the table at the moment, on our quarter mil chart,
yes,
it's drawn. There's a bit of a lane. It's very suggestive. That's the VFR lane through Luton.
That's an air traffic lane. That is for ATC purposes. That lane. It's amazing how many people ask to transit by the corridor.
Yeah,
we don't have a corridor,
and because it matches the VRPs as well, the hides and the Offleys and Purtons and whatnot.
So that corridor, for want of a better word, is what's called the north-south lane. If we want to operate special VFR, which means I now have to separate IFR from special VFR, we need standard separation. I can clear traffic into that lane, height to hold, not over 1,500 feet special VFR, that is deemed separate from Luton Airport. We have the deemed separation, so I don't need to go for 3 miles. I don't have to worry about that. That is from me, and that is deemed separation. It's the same coming up from the north, be not about 1,500 feet towards Otley to hold. Deemed separation from Luton, so I don't have to worry about the 3 miles. That's their traffic thing. Everyone sees the lane and think, oh, hello. I'm going to ask to go up and down the corridor. You can, but it isn't technically a corridor like you might have. I think Manchester have a low level.
It's got a low level corridor.
Well, I don't know.
Expand it.
So I don't know the ins and outs of that, so I'm not going to comment on that in case I make a total mess of it. For us, it is a corridor that is mainly there specifically for special VFR. So we know
That special vehicle.
I know.
What is the circumstance of that? Can any LGA pilot ask for a special vehicle or what?
So we kind of go into a bit of a different world here. So you can request it. If your routing is going to keep you outside the aerodrome traffic zone, you are basically in control of your weather conditions. So you can say I'm VFR. If the weather inside the ATZ is such, so like we're broken at 15, less than broken at 1,500, I cannot issue a VFR clearance. I have to ask you your intentions.
Well, and why can't you issue the clearance? Because
I can't assume you can take a specific clearance in case I then start going to the realms of IFR. If you're VFR only, I will say you request the VFR transit. My weather is such, I'll say cloud at Luton, broken 1,400 feet, report your intentions. At that point, if you request a special VFR clearance and you're happy to fly that, Roger. But then I then have to speak to, say, Luton Tower and ask if they are happy to accept a special VFR transit, because they now become responsible for the separation against the inbound and outbound traffic. We then have to generate a gap to get you through. If the weather should deteriorate any further and it goes IFR, that's where we have to then figure out about leaving controlled airspace by the safest route. If that made sense. There was a lot of words there in a short space of time. I appreciate that. But the weather, the Luton Airport weather is basically what we deem to be within the ATZ. If you're remaining outside the ATZ, you can request VFR because I cannot determine your in-flight conditions. That's up to the cruiser.
I think you used to get lost on. I haven't got one of the maps on right in front of me, but you used to get lost on some of the maps. So forget that in something like Luton or Stansted, there is an ATZ.
Yeah.
It's not, the ATZ is not that great big shaded bit. It's the little bit, the round bit in the middle for us on our charts.
And some people do forget about the whopping great control zone around the ATZ. So some people have inadvertently, I say inadvertently, entered controlled airspace without a clearance because they've forgotten that we're Class D.
Oh, thinking that just simply the ATZ is a bit they need to be careful of.
Thinking the ATZ, I've had traffic say, I'm going to remain outside your airspace as they enter my airspace. Yeah.
They're just looking at the little ATZ.
ATZ, yeah.
Oh no, don't say that.
We're Class D.
So C.
D, Delta.
Class D.
Class D.
Oh, somebody wants to ask. Oh, it's just popped up. Gone on. I'll read it in a second.
That'd be easy.
Will be somebody's called Scott Speed. Sorry, I can't have video. Can I ask what the ideal? I think it might be ideal time distance to request a transit ahead of time. Got to clarify the terminology for asking zone transit, CTA, CTR transit.
So ideally 5 minutes flying time, but I appreciate if you're getting airborne out of Elstree, I don't know how many minutes away from the zone boundary that you are.
Yeah, literally only a few minutes sometimes.
As soon as you can, but we're looking ideally in an ideal world 5 minutes flying time. Please don't sit on the zone boundary and call for transit and expect it to be instantaneous because the workload's involved. I will get into that in a minute. So terminology for asking. So call sign, requesting zone transit north to south. If you're looking for a CTA transit, the base of controlled airspace where the CTA is may start at 2,500. So that's going to put you into a different realms by the Class Delta, or maybe even if you want to enter the London TMA, that's Class A, and that would be an IFR transit, which is something different. If you want a CTA transit at Stansted, perfect, requesting CTA transit to the southwest, northeast. Direction of travel, but on first call, call sign, requesting zone transit, north to south. So just give us a rough idea who you are, that you actually want to come into controlled airspace, because that's then my cue to start identifying you. So I'll give you a squawk, my QNH, then if needs be, I will come back to you. But I know I've done my bit and I can start the identification process.
And is it helpful? Sorry, I'm butting in here. My friend, like,
Air traffic friend.
is it helpful that we give you a bit more of a heads up, you know, saying CTR, CTA, or transit, or just entry, and if we want to come in and land in the middle of the zone or something along those lines? Or is it just, we just say zone transit, that kind of cover everything, and then you'll catch it on the next round?
So if you can be a little bit more specific. So zone transit by the overhead, brilliant. I know that I do need to identify you and you're going to go through the overhead, so I will have to speak to Luton Tower in this case. Requesting entry into controlled airspace, private site, southwestern corner, brilliant. So I know you may not get too close, so that could be quite easily done and quite quickly done. What was the other part of that?
Oh, it's just all along those lines.
Yeah, so just a rough idea of what you want. So via the overhead, 4 miles east of the airfield, private site, 1 mile south of Luton, or that kind of thing. So we know how close you're going to get, and that can also dictate our workload.
It's the slight difference, isn't it, between potentially what we read in the book, which is just an initial call without really any information, or sometimes it's very useful for, as long as we're accurate.
Yes.
Do we want to transit through and out the other side? Do we want to just come in and land, or whatever it is we're doing?
Yeah, the key is to let us know that you want to enter controlled airspace, because if you don't say that and I ask you to stand by, but I'm inbound to a private site. So because you haven't asked to come in, and if I've got a few things going on, you're now at the bottom of the priorities because you haven't asked to come in. I can give you the QNH and then I can come back to you. The fact you do want to come in, that means, okay, I do need to do something more with you and work through that in the chain of priorities to get you in.
That's good. And that's what we'd always teach. Get that first call, just a rough idea of what it is you want to do without being too wordy.
Yes.
Just so you think, oh, right, okay. Yeah. They want ATZ or transit through, or actually they're going to be miles off, or
perfect.
Whatever else it is.
Yes.
So does the term transit also mean that that's the request to actually, as you say, stopping in a private site?
So if someone, to me, my interpretation, if you want to transit, you're just going to keep going.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you're coming into a private site to land, that's something different. Even if it's not a full stop landing, you might land, be on the ground for 15, 20 minutes and look to get airborne again. That is different. If you're transiting, you're just going to keep going.
Yeah.
I've had traffic request transit. I've given transit. They've reached the threshold. They've done a 180. That wasn't the clearance. You can't just suddenly turn.
Oh, but I'll turn around and go back out. I'm just transiting through, but just back the other way.
No, you didn't tell me that.
You didn't say that.
I could have made it work.
So what are you requesting then? So if you want to land at a private site, you're outside the control area.
So request entry to Luton controlled airspace to land private site 4 miles southwest.
So it's actually very different.
Yeah, it's really different. Yeah, very different, isn't it?
It is.
Just to help you. Otherwise, all that happens is suddenly there's this great big long exchange, isn't there? Of you want to what? Sorry, hang on.
You're going where?
Yeah.
To come
In the meantime, you're looking after all your inbound, outbounds, and everything else.
What if this private site in the zone is very close to the ATZ? Is it best to mention I want clearance from ATZ as well?
So we don't differentiate unless the weather is borderline. So if the weather's looking a little bit suspect and it might be a special VFR clearance, then it's always worth specifying our landing sites within the ATZ. Okay, so I also now know that Tower will need to know, because you're going to get relatively close in. If the weather is borderline, it's then going to be Tower separation, so they will need to know. But give us the information. It's on the edge of the ATZ. I now know you're going to be within 1.5 to 2 miles of Luton. I know you're going to be quite close in.
It's funny because as the pilot, you think, well, I know exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
But of course,
I don't.
You don't, unless it's a regular visit or whatever.
Yes,
it's funny, you've got no idea what's about to happen.
You get some of the corporate helicopters that do a usual routing, but they'll always specify that routing So we know that they're going to go Puckeridge, Debden, not above 2 or not above 1500 because they do that route multiple times a day. So we kind of are expecting that. But any little private site or anything like that, we may not be familiar with if we don't have any kind of letter of agreement or anything written down. So yes, it's a surprise to us.
Is there help to ring up beforehand? We can sort of say where you're going and.
So for transit, no. If it's a private site and you might be quite close into Luton, always worth a phone call so we have the details ahead of time. Just so we can then speak to the tower. This aircraft be inbound in about 30 minutes time. They're going to look to land private site here. I can then give the details in slow time to the tower, so they're expecting it. And I will say, I will call with ident, because at that point, I may not have issued a score. So that can always help, yeah.
We've got a prime example here, haven't we, Grant? But Grant lives literally either which way, depend how you view it, on the approach or the departure of Stansted, don't you?
On 1 mile west of the 5 mile final. 1 mile west of Daxted.
Yes.
Yes.
That's one that comes up a lot of the time, yeah. Again, if you say that and we know where it is, we're getting used to it now.
It's been 6 years now.
Yeah.
Every day's like the first for some of us. Because it all depends who's been on radar and who's seen it.
Yeah.
And I also know that some of the ranges and bearings we get from some crews is so far off. So even if we have been told, we will double check.
Quite often I get in and out really easily,
Yeah.
but sometimes I get a really digi controller and I was asked to circle for about 10 minutes a couple of weeks ago, which is the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah.
I just fine, you know.
All depends which direction you're going off and also which
Yeah.
end we're landing on. Because of course, the one thing we don't want to generate is TCAS.
Yeah.
I think we've spoken. I'm just trying to. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Later, take care.
Have a good
Good morning. Hello.
Lane's off. So one thing we don't want to generate is TCAS. So if we were giving traffic to the tower, we normally know you're going to depart because we've always been given the call ahead of
From
time.
that.
Yeah. So I will tell my arrivals just to be advised, helicopter traffic going to get airborne in the vicinity of Thaxted or south of a 5 mile final. We'll get airborne low hover. If you normally have given which direction you want to leave in to the GS, but of course, if you're going to be going through the climb out or final, we will try and get you away from the field initially, unless we can get you straight through.
Yeah. Generally getting out isn't a problem. Sometimes coming in,
Yeah.
they get a bit nervous, but I think it's maybe people that aren't used to exactly where I'm going.
And that's the thing, because if we're just double checking depending on what end we're on. Also, the angle that you're approaching from.
Yeah, because I come from a different place. I come from
Yeah. So
I think the first time we called up him first, had a good chat with Stan, said, look, this is Grant lives here. They want to just it was a practice run, wasn't it? Literally, they just want to come in and then go back out, just so you kind of get
we're
used
away
to
from
it. Yeah, that's right. And they were really good, weren't they?
Yeah, no, it works really well. I've read a letter of agreement. I don't know if there's something I should
I
say.
have
but
no idea how you get one, but there are ways and means.
It worked. The process works. So
Works well,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, generally speaking, works really well.
I was in and out this morning.
Were you?
Yeah.
So I'm keeping an ear out now. We would have spoken in the past, but now I know.
Yeah, without
Again,
doubt.
when you say that, you start to recognise village names and everything. But of course, we've also had some pilots that have said, my landing site's here. It hasn't been.
Yeah.
I'm going to remain outside your airspace. They haven't done. It's so some of us have trust issues. But you check and double check. But yeah, again, you ring the GS ahead of time. We know you're going. We can
Yeah.
go to town.
Always try and do that sort of as close to takeoff as possible. 10,
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So we can then tell the tower you're going to get airborne, because if they see something get airborne and they're not expecting it, they're going to be on the phone to me.
Occasionally, they'll give me a clearance to go, but I never take it. I always call in the low
Okay.
hover.
Again,
I'm always a bit nervous about going
yeah,
without calling in the low hover.
that and I get that. I totally get like
Yeah.
trust issues. You just want to double check. There's nothing wrong with double checking.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
good for you. I do that the same. I
Yeah,
have to admit, yeah.
that's how it works. So
Oh, Amanda, GS?
Oh, see, my GS is group supervisor. I apologise. I'm using
Sorry.
acronyms here.
That was full of acronyms on, there's sometimes
Yeah.
like,
So
you
yes,
still think GS.
they'll answer the phone GSR.
GS Airport. So yeah. So down at Swanwick we have the approaches for Northolt, the kind of do their own thing, even though they're part of the London TMA, of course, big military. We've got London City, Heathrow, Stansted, and Gatwick. So we have GS Airports who will take phone calls from all those airfields, and again, anything looking to go in out the airspace. So that's who you bring up.
That also works well for any other. I've used it for other, not just the Stansted zone.
Yeah. Do it for Luton, do it for Gatwick. I don't know how the rules work for Heathrow and London City. Again, they have different areas. So
I've used it for Bournemouth. They cover Bournemouth.
we don't know.
Right. Where I used to ring to get out of Bournemouth.
I would only have seen Bournemouth again.
Yeah.
That's out of my little.
And in amongst this, something else that I think often gets overlooked and when teaching our students, they don't realise, because so you're often looking after Stansted and Luton, aren't you?
Yes.
Whereabouts are you exactly when you're doing that?
So we are
Which
based.
tower? Which tower are you in?
We're not in either town. We're based at the Air Traffic Control Centre down at Swanwick in Hampshire. So I'm about 80 miles away.
Yeah.
I've come down from Portsmouth today. So it's nice to be out and about and see real aircraft. Point to keep squeaking.
So how on earth do you talk to the tower? Did you just shout really loudly? Or?
Give megaphone, yeah.
Yeah.
No, so we have phone lines to our respective towers. We have, this is going to get complicated. So say for example Stansted, you have the Stansted radar frequency, which is 120625. You have Stansted director 1362. When we're not busy, those two frequencies are cross coupled. So if we're quiet, we're going out on both frequencies. So the phone lines I have Stansted Int, which is an intermediate phone line for 120625. Stansted Fin. So when we do split off, the tower know who's ringing, if it's Int or Fin. We also have a priority line. So if anything has happened and I need the tower to answer immediately, I'm hitting the priority line. I know on my side, it scares the living daylights out of you. It flashes red and it makes a lot more noise. So you know something has happened.
It's quite serious.
It is. So it could be aircraft flying a missed approach. There may be FOD on the runway, again, traffic going around. There may be all manner of issues, maybe snow closure at late notice, braking action. Something has happened and they need me to take immediate action, either with traffic I've got or to take traffic that they've got. So yes.
So to get this really clear, we just want to fly through. Let's just say Luton or it doesn't matter whichever one. I want to ideally go just because it looks pretty, literally around the end of the runway.
Okay.
So and you're dealing with quite a few inbounds and outbounds because it's your busy time.
Yep.
I presume your workload is quite high because you've also now got to pick up a telephone.
Correct.
In amongst handling the calls as well on the radio, and literally speak to somebody and say, "Got this blooming helicopter." Wants to fly through.
It's Paul.
Yeah. I think that's what we forget. And this is why sometimes we hear on the radio. Sorry, just repeat us on the telephone.
Station calling, I was on the phone. That is
what are you doing on your mobile? Texting again.
So we have manner of landlines. We have again
hence you're on the phone to the tower and all sorts of things, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think everybody forgets it. The image is just you're just sitting there looking at a screen, waiting for the next customer to call.
It sounds quiet on the RT. It isn't necessarily. I'm looking 40 miles out. I'm judging my traffic situation. You can tell when sort of everyone's had their breakfast in the GA because we can go on our morning break, nothing on radar. You come back and the amount of VFR squawks that have got airborne on a sunny day, you're thinking, okay, everyone's now just got airborne. So you know.
How many VFR squawks have you got allocated?
Oh, I've got from 4670 to 4676. So I have that'd be 7.
7.
Yes.
And they all want to go to a private landing site in
So on transit they can all want something. This would be a different subject, but I know on a basic service I will give you a squawk because I want to know where you are. I don't have to identify you, but I would like to know where you are just in case. That's just me.
Where's Farnborough radar?
They're based at Farnborough. They're an exception to the rule. They're actually based at.
They're actually based at the airport, aren't they? Yeah.
Amanda, how many aircraft would you look after at one time, roughly? And how many aircraft would you be looking after? What's the kind of workload like?
As they say, it can escalate really quickly. So my hold for Luton goes from flight level 90 up to 120. That's the traffic I will be talking to, but they can physically hold up to flight level 140. So you've got the traffic in the hold, we've got traffic that I've already vectored off. You can have 9, 10 aircraft. You've got VFR aircraft, then you've got the police. We can split the sector off. So I will hand traffic off to Luton Director. So as Luton Radar, I'll be working the traffic initially inbound to the holds, giving them the slight delays 5 minutes. Copy Jones's exit, take up hold. As I then start vectoring them for altitudes, I will then hand them off to Director. But the one thing we don't have control over is the traffic calling VFR for transit. Right. And that can sometimes be a cue for us to split the sector. If you want to come in and I'm too busy to allow you at that point, I will call someone back to free up capacity so we then can start giving transits or making that an option.
Yeah.
So always best to call well ahead.
Yes, more time the better, yeah. So I can start planning and then pass details to the tower. That will give me more time and more capacity. Again, I've had traffic call on the zone boundary requesting transit. I've got to identify you. I've got to ask you for all your details. I'm still working my arriving traffic. I've now got to ring the tower. Are you able to accept a zone transit? Yes or no? I've got to pass all your details to the tower now. Then I've got to issue a clearance while still vectoring the inbounds. And sometimes traffic on the zone boundary can get quite short-tempered. But I'm thinking, because of the workload that goes on behind the scenes that you won't see and you don't hear, you think, well, she's not doing anything. Yeah. Oh, I am. I'm trying. So the workload that goes in. So the more time you can give us, like minimum 5 minutes, brilliant, just to get the process moving. And if I have to speak to a few more aircraft, go and make the phone call to the tower, then come back and carry on through my inbound.
With that thought in mind, I mean, if I'm flying around you,
yes,
and I may be in the flight path, would you rather have me on a basic service or a listening squawk, or you don't care?
It's entirely up to you. If you're going to be really quite close, if you're going to, you'd be amazed at how many people track the zone boundary because they can. And you're thinking one wrong move and you're in. If you're not talking to us, you're unknown traffic, you're infringing. If you're, say, a couple of miles off the edge of the zone boundary, listening squawk, but there's nothing stopping you asking and calling up for a basic service. And this is where I will issue a squawk, just so I know who you are. I know what you're doing. I've also confirmed your mode Charlie, so I know your height on my QNH. If anything potentially goes sideways, I know who you are, the level that you're at, and I can then take decisive action.
Better to have a basic service than listening.
If you're far enough away and you want to listen out, that's absolutely fine. So I know not everybody wants to talk to us.
How far away it is.
So if you're 2 miles from the zone boundary, listening squawk, absolutely fine. But don't take that as hard and fast. Again, at the end of the day, it's whatever you're comfortable with. If you want to make yourself known on frequency and get a basic service, do it. If you don't want to talk to us because you think we're a little bit scary, we're not. But you have the listening squawk and you can then build up your situational awareness just by listening out. Oh, she's busy. It's not so busy. What's going on there? Why she said that? Why is there a delay not determined? You can kind of gauge where we kind of are.
Sometimes Stansted is incredibly busy, isn't it?
0
Oh
4.
my god, yeah.
You know, like where
The radio
I
doesn't
can
stop, does it?
switch frequencies out, you know, a good way out and listen, thinking, no.
There's going to be a gap. There's going to be a gap.
And it's
There's not a gap.
constant.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think, oh, I want a straight track, but I'll end up tracking up the outside, waiting for an option to talk.
And that, because you've not had a clearance again, you're having to hedge your bets. Yeah. Sometimes if you've gone out that day and you're due back in that day, even if when you sign off to Stansted, I'll be back again about 1500, that kind of thing. I will always put the details to one side for something like that for a private site. So every time we hand over controllers, we're giving the entire picture, including the fact you'll be coming back at some point. So we still know who you are, aircraft type where you're out of, and your point of departure. So we're ready for you in a nice way.
Is that handwritten or digital handover?
Well, this is electronic strips.
Okay, yeah.
Everything's on electronics now. I'm still old school. I like paper, but that's just me.
Is there any scenarios where you'd like a pilot to use director rather than radar? Because invariably I'm director on the way out. But sometimes they ask me to talk to radar, but invariably it's director on the way out. Obviously, always on the way back in, I'm calling up radar.
So I had this conversation with the Helimed and the police out of North Weald because of where they are. When you're outbound, you go to director because we would have the arriving and departing traffic. Inbound, all depending on where you are and the direction you're going to come in from, I'd say make the initial call on 120625. If at that point we are split off and they want to hand you off to director, that will be the static controller.
So have director, when you get
Have
to that
director on
point,
box
have
two.
director and radar in,
Yeah.
which is what I do.
Yeah. So again, whatever I say, one day you're going to turn up, it's going to be something different because every watch does it differently. But as you know, on 04, static director is the busier of the two frequencies.
Have you ever dealt with a scenario where an aircraft's flying through your area control where it's not on frequency?
Yes. I've had multiple zone infringements, and at that point, we then have to start taking various actions depending on where they are, what they're doing. Because against unknown traffic that's into controlled airspace, I either need, I have to talk with my hands in, I need 3 miles or 3,000 feet. I can't let the contacts merge. So let's say, for example, 3,000.
That's quite a separation, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is. So let's say I've had a VFR squawk into controlled airspace at 2,000 feet. My minimum, if I can't get 3 miles, I need 3,000 feet. Because I don't know the intentions of that aircraft, just because you've gone through the centre line, I could start vectoring for, let's say, 2-2. You might do a 180 because you've now seen something you recognise and think, well, hello, I shouldn't have done this. And they can turn back from where they came. So anything that is inside controlled airspace, it's just like a giant bubble around them that you have to avoid. And hopefully they'll either start talking to you, talking to an adjacent sector, figure out where they are and talk to you, or leave controlled airspace. Even then, we can start vectoring, but we're just keeping a little bit of an eye out because they've made a mistake once. They don't know where they are necessarily. That might happen again.
So if they're straight lining through, that's probably a little easier than wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Oh my God, where are they going now?
Straight line, it all depends if they've got the right motorway. I've had there was years ago that thought they were following the M40.
Oh dear.
They were following the M1.
Whoops. It's a slight different direction.
There was, yes. Again, priority line to Luton Tower, departing traffic. This is where the priority line comes into its own. Unknown traffic, departing traffic. Then up to me as radar to come up with a plan to keep them away from that traffic. They did speak to another unit who identified them. They were lost, obviously. At that point, get positive identification, positive control to leave controlled airspace, make sure they're okay, and then we start with the sequencing again. But it happens, we're only human. But if you're ever in any doubt, don't be afraid to ask for help. If you think you're lost, talk to someone.
Who would be your first point of call?
Well, we all know D&D 1215. That might be someone's, because if you don't know whereabouts you are, you're not going to know which radar sector to talk to, let alone the frequency. If you have no idea, speak to any radar unit. I think I'm lost. They will identify you. You'll then appear in someone's airspace or close to someone's airspace, and that unit can then start ringing the adjacent sectors to let them know. But once they've got positive identification, they can figure out what you know, what you don't know, where you are. Are you stuck above cloud? It can be all manner of things. But once someone's talking to you, they can always ask to help D&D, other sectors, and try and get you back on track. But speak to anybody. But 1215, if you suddenly have a mental blank as to who you need to talk to, you've got D&D.
I'm curious, show of hands and online potentially, who's actually spoken to D&D 121.50, either because they've had to or for practice?
I can't remember.
Yes, it's not really, is it? And so something we do sometimes come across, or I've come across, is that kind of, oh, are we allowed to?
Yep.
Well,
Always
that's
happens.
what they're there for, yeah.
Yeah.
And to call for practice potentially as well.
Yeah, a lot
So
of
there
it
is
is
some practice.
practice plans. So again, you just kind of get over the fear of talking to them. The kit they have is absolutely incredible. I've been in for visits and they can pinpoint you down to roads. They can zoom in. They can find out where you are, auto triangulate based on your radio. They can tell you anywhere. They can give you a road to follow if you need it. They can get you down to minutest detail. So 1215.
They're very friendly.
They are, they're lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And often they ask us actually go on there and do a practice.
They do,
Practice pans and things.
They're always looking for
You call them ahead and book a practice slot.
just
No.
one
No,
hop.
just
Call
all
the
of
radio
it.
to practice.
You change, you listen, just make sure nothing's actually going on,
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I was saying.
and just
Call it in.
ask them if you can do a practice.
Where are they based, Amanda?
They're based in Swanage.
That's right.
Just down the corridor, aren't they?
Literally on the back of the TC Ops room. So yeah. Of course, they deal with a multitude of things.
You mentioned special VFR
Yes.
clearance earlier.
Yes.
Can you talk a bit more about that? I've never used it,
Okay.
but would be interested to know.
So a special trying to trip over. So a special VFR transit, the rules differ. I would have to have a look at the visibility and the cloud criteria differ whether you're fixed wing or rotary. If the cloud, for example, is broken at less than 1500 but inside the ATZ, so let's say the Luton weather is below 1500, broken or overcast, I cannot issue a VFR clearance through the ATZ. If you want to route round the ATZ, I said you can go VFR because you determine your flight conditions. But from a radar perspective, the rules around special VFR and IFR, I have to separate. So I need 3 miles or 1,000 feet. I need to ensure separation. If you're looking to transit through the Luton overhead, I have to generate a gap big enough that Luton Tower can get you through without having a loss of separation. They may be able to see you, but they won't be able to see my inbound on a 6 or 7 mile final. So we need to ensure that we maintain what we refer to as standard separation, like IFR, so 3 miles or 1,000 feet. With special VFR, you may end up getting held off for a little bit longer until we can get a gap in the traffic to fit you in. But again, that's if you're going to look to enter the ATZ. You can request a special VFR transit or a special VFR clearance based on your in-flight conditions. And that still means I would then have to separate you from other traffic that I have. So it just means I need either 3 miles or 1,000 feet. VFR and IFR, can you see it? Yes. Pass above and behind. So therefore, as VFR, you're taking on the responsibility of separation. Special VFR, IFR, it's my responsibility now. So I'm having to separate, if that makes sense.
So special VFR is just through the ATZ?
For us, yes.
So is that visual with other traffic or visual surface, clear of cloud surface inside?
So you're dictating your flight rules. To me, if you can't see the ground, you're IFR.
Yeah.
When people say VFR on top, no. No.
Today, Stansted, when I came back in, Stansted was showing as IFR on the weather apps, but it's auto at Stansted, isn't it?
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was showing, I think, overcast at 900,
Okay.
but it clearly wasn't.
Yeah.
And the controller specifically asked, like, you know, are you comfortable with do you want VFR? And I was like, yeah, because I was clear of cloud with surface inside.
Because remember, they're not sitting there looking out the window.
No.
You're down.
So I'm
you're down West Road.
what the automet is saying. If it tells me that it's snowing there, I believe it.
Yeah.
And I'm on the phone to tower, yeah, sure it's snowing.
Because I've had this before, trying to get a VFR years ago, VFR transit just through Luton.
Yeah.
And they said negative because of the weather.
Unable, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm
We have no
like,
idea.
it's literally blue sky everywhere. What the hell's going on? I don't understand this. I don't understand. Went to Stansted and said, yeah, no problem, zone transit. I was like, what?
Just confirm the weather. I'll ring the tower.
Yeah.
I'm now being asked. This is why Cambridge said, I've said, just confirm you have the field in sight. You could see Luton for 50 miles.
Yeah.
But to me, because it's saying broken at 1,000,
You can't assume that
I
you can see it.
no, I can't make any assumptions. So if it sounds like I'm being a total muppet, I'm not. I'm doing it based on the information that I have, and it may not have updated at that point. But I can understand broken at 900, thinking, oh, okay.
Yeah.
What was that situation? If you're saying, oh, it's cloudy.
Yeah.
Too cloudy, but the pilot can see clouds.
Yeah.
What happens then?
I have to go off the weather. I have to go off what it says. If it says it's broken at 1,000 or overcast at 900 within the ATZ,
Unless the pilot says, I'm VFR.
if you say you're VFR, that's
So, yeah.
fine. But you have to remain outside the ATZ.
At the ATZ.
You have to remain outside the ATZ. because I have to go off the airport weather, and that's basically what happens in my little bubble, is the ATZ.
You're controlling the ATC.
So technically the ATZ will belong to the tower. The airspace around it is mine, but it's like a team effort. I'm not going to go into the ATZ unless I've spoken to the tower because it's that close in. But because the airfield weather is saying that the conditions within inside the ATZ, a special VFR or IFR, I am unable to issue the VFR clearance.
Got to remember,
Issuing a special VFR is altitude. Now it's different. I mean, can you are you more flexible, or is it completely variable depending on traffic?
How do you mean?
Well, supposing there's clouds between 1,000 and 1,500. I had this over Newcastle. I could see Newcastle in the bottom. I could see the other side. It's completely clear.
Yeah.
Newcastle wouldn't give me a clearance VFR because of the clouds.
Yes.
I said, well, I can see. They said, ask for a special. They're very nice, actually. As you talked about special, I said yes. But then I got flexibility on because I couldn't go across at 1,200 because it was clouds.
So they would give you a not above. They would specify a level altitude in case they put you into cloud. The only time I would give level 2,400 if it's IFR, and I know you can take an IFR clearance. Special VFR, say through Luton, will be not above 1,500 feet. Therefore, if you need to descend for weather, you can do.
Can I go off that way? That's right.
No. So that's where the number of 1,500.
for us, we wouldn't anyway, because going up means you're either in it or you're going to be trying to fly above the cloud. Which is a very good idea.
If you needed to, you can always make that request, and if there is no other traffic to affect, we can accommodate that, but that would be on each individual situation. Traffic.
Then slightly odd one we get is Southend. Quite often we go through there. They say not below 2,400.
Oof.
Yeah,
Okay. That's a new one.
yeah. I've had that many times on the train. They say yeah, not below 2,400.
I have to ring them and ask them.
I think it's to allow them to carry on with their whatever their GA traffic inbound, outbound, whatever kind of thing. But yeah, quite often they said not below 2,400.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never tried that. Why not start?
Yeah, it's been a regular one before now.
Okay. It's interesting. It's always nice to hear what other units do, because you end up just doing what you've done all the time.
That's typically going overhead. If we go along the sort of the south and then want to turn north, if we're going up towards Cromer,
Okay.
not on the Norfolk coast
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, I think it's transit through, but it's
Interesting.
below 2,400. So I can only figure that allows them to continue.
So obviously something
operations or something.
going on below,
whatever
yeah.
it might well be,
Yeah.
This one solves London something.
Well, London Luton, London Cranfield,
London Oxford, yeah.
Yeah, London
Where's
Oxford.
the- We love everybody.
Yeah.
What's the criteria for transferring people onto the tower? Is it purely control or workload?
So the majority of the times for a Luton transit, if the tower will have traffic to affect, I will transfer you to tower for the onward clearance. So you can expect, say, from the south height to hold above 2,000 feet VFR. I'll check for the tower. If they've got inbound and outbound traffic, I know that you're going to be traffic to arriving traffic, if that makes sense. So say my traffic on 7 mile final, I'll give you height to hold and then transfer you to the tower so they can transit you when they're comfortable. Because if they have the arriving traffic, if anything happens, you have an emergency, the inbound goes around, they have both aircraft on their frequency and they can take any kind of action. If they have nothing going on and they are happy for us as radar to hold on to you, we will do. But I think the majority of the time from Luton, you can expect to go to the tower with the onward clearance by the 25 or 07 threshold, because Luton has got a lot busier. You've probably discovered.
So the year,
Yeah.
definitely the last
Yeah.
few years, as the hold, isn't it?
We've now got our own hold. It's amazing how busy Luton is. I don't know where they put all those aircraft. Kane might be able to tell me. I have no idea. They just disappear into the hole in the middle, and it's amazing how busy it gets. It really is. You miss it, really.
I do.
Let's track the level down a little bit.
Yes, of course.
And ask about most common mistakes that you experience when it comes to having inexperienced pilots or students, newly qualified pilots. What sort of mistakes do you regularly see? Which are the kind of most serious?
So the most common mistake, this just doesn't apply to students, is if they haven't heard something, they don't feel they can ask for clarification. So sometimes with air traffic control, because we sound quite intimidating when we're busy, you don't like to bother us, but you're not bothering us. So if you haven't heard something, don't make it up. It sounds really simple, but it's true, because you almost feel that pressure. If you need something, ask again, ask us to confirm it. If you are a student, use the prefix student. That helps us just to be a little bit more aware that you're lower hours and lower experience. I do think sometimes it is the fear of talking to us and not wanting to ask the questions for clarification. So just don't be scared, because sometimes students want to keep quiet and don't want to bother you. Please don't. If you need anything, ask. And if you can't do something, tell us. I've said that to all the crews.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, because there's that feeling of not wanting to cause a nuisance. Whereas actually, so that is something you see quite a lot. You've said something,
Yeah.
the aircraft.
And you're watching them do something different. You're thinking, where are you going?
Yes.
And have they understood what I've said? If you haven't,
Yeah.
If you're having even that split second of doubt and you're not sure, ask us.
That's what we say in the airline world as
Yeah.
well, because we're likely ones probably to make more nuisance to us. So we always say if there's any doubt at all, there's no
Yes.
doubt.
If in doubt, ask. Yeah.
So about the times we're off the radio, we want to get a clarification of a clearance that's been given.
Yeah.
There's no doubt
Yeah.
at all. We just we ask for it again.
Yeah. And we're happy to reiterate it. I'd rather you ask than go on, you're not sure. You're then starting to get a bit more anxious. You're not sure. If you can ask us straight off, or even just have to think about it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I need help here. Just tell us. And if you can't find the right phraseology, just use plain English.
So good.
So yeah, or confirm that last clearance, because you might ask for something. I can't give you that, so I'm going to give you something different. And I've now thrown you a curveball. I've issued you a clearance you're not expecting to a place you may not be familiar with. And you're thinking, hello, I'm not sure now. So never be afraid to ask.
I was thinking that's the easiest. If you're in doubt, just say confirm clearance. That's it. 2 words. That's it. So
Yeah.
if you start going, confirm our clearance is climb to altitude, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
that's wrong.
Just confirm your last. Yeah.
Just confirm last, confirm
Yeah.
clearance. Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets rid of all of that.
You're welcome.
You saw the time in the heli loads, even now, when we're going through and taking people, oh, look at this, and
Yeah.
suddenly what did they say hold?
Yeah.
London Bridge, Tower Bridge. It's always London Bridge.
Bridges.
Was it? What was it? Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Just go back on, yeah, just
Go back and ask. We'd rather you ask
Yeah.
than overshoot it. And then we then have to start taking any kind of action. Nobody wants to go into paperwork.
Nope.
None of us do. We would rather you ask us. And if something is potentially in the offing, we can then rectify it, we can correct it, and we can stop it.
How important is the order of the phraseology? Because just today I was talking to Farnborough
Yeah.
and they would said pass your message. So I said my registration
Yeah.
and everything else. And
Yeah.
then I remembered, wait, I didn't say my aircraft type.
Yeah.
And then at a split second I was like, wait, should I even say Cabri G2 or just let it go? I did say Cabri G2 after I said basic service. So I finished everything and then I said Cabri G2 and it felt weird to me, but
See,
how important is this?
I've got to that point. If the order has changed, I couldn't tell you what it is. I'm just happy that all the information comes out. To me, it's added stress trying to remember an order. As long as you get all the bits of information out at some point, and if you miss a bit, I'll say just confirm aircraft type. Because if I tell Tara you're a light fixed wing and you're a helicopter, they're going to go, no, it's not, Amanda. I go, no, it isn't. So yeah, as long as all the information comes out at some point, if you do miss anything, we'll ask. So don't worry about trying to get a specific order. But if you want to, nothing wrong with that.
We've often, obviously, you know Helena very well.
Yes.
She taught me some RT stuff in the early days, and it was ADPAR, which we use a lot.
Okay.
Which is just simply aircraft, departure, destination, position, altitude, and then the R and the N could be route or request or anything
Yeah.
else, and that works really, really well. Yeah, just in that natural order. Which say it doesn't seem to phase too much if we give it to you in an odd order. We suddenly remember something else.
No.
a bit
I usually have the
differently.
order on my needle. I
Yeah.
have the order, but I didn't have it this time, and that's why I struggled a little
It's
bit.
good for us because it just when teaching and for you to have a set order because it flows better. Otherwise, you're picking the info and suddenly, oh, did I say that? I'm not sure if I did that now. But if you do it in your natural order, whatever it might well be, then it tends to flow better. But like Amanda said, Don't worry, because if there's something missing, just going to ask straight away. Yeah.
If it's something we explode, so we had this conversation with regards to persons on board.
Right.
Some people tell us persons on board. I think it's just anything, if any kind of alerting action needs to be taken, we know how many people were on board that aircraft if we have to alert anyone.
That's what I often do, just for that purpose.
Yes.
Just in case, but at least you know
Oh,
how many
you
people
never
there
know.
are.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't like it, asked you when you take the dog bed, do that.
No, I changed the wording. I say souls on board. I forgot the dog. If I got fly there, I say souls on board, not people on persons on board.
So that works for me. I'd happily put fly on board as well.
Three people, one dog.
That's it.
Yeah.
3 souls on board or 4 souls on board. That all works, doesn't it? What about somebody's a little bit wordy, shall we say? This is and you get their life story amongst the call. 30 seconds later, they finally release the trigger.
3 aircraft are now gone through the localisation.
Yeah.
If you can kind of keep it short and to the point, we would appreciate it. But again, we all had to start somewhere. We've all fluffed our lines. I still do it. It's just one of those things. Again, we're all human. But if you can have a rough idea ahead of time what you want to ask us, even if it's just call sign, aircraft type, requesting zone transit, try and break it down to a small chunk, umming and ahhing, and we're sat there going, they're still talking. They're still talking. They're still talking. The phone's ringing, but they're still talking, just in case you missed out something pivotal. But again, we all had to learn. If you can try and think ahead of time what you'd like to ask.
Definitely.
Otherwise, we may ask you to stand by, break. I'm now going to go off and do a few other things. I will then circle back to you and probably say again. You'll love that. But yeah, so don't be surprised if we do a few other things in the meantime. If it was
still transmitting.
again.
I'm still transmitting it.
Oh, stuck pushed a PTT or something. Yeah.
We've all had that.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
amazing some of the conversations you hear and they don't realise they're going out on the RT. I had traffic years ago go, I don't think she understood me. Station calling, I think you find I did. I think you find you've got a stuck mic, that airline no longer flies. They then requested to divert standby. Of course, I had to get the wheels in motion for that. I've also had someone go, well, that was the wrong button. To which I then found that mildly amusing. And then I had to keep going because I was busy. And then another little voice came on. Do you think you found the right button? I love the flight crews, the sense of humour. And then the other voice came on and went, I'm so sorry. It's fine. I said, I'll find you by your voice. And he didn't speak to me again. I was just being lighthearted. But we all make mistakes. But I don't know how easy it is for you to realise if you've got a stuck switch came. Do you get side toned? Can you tell?
I mean, on the aircraft, we get an ECAM for it, so we'll say that one of the mics is stuck and transmitting.
You get a magical alert. Do you get a magical alert?
Well,
That's the only thing.
other than TX on the radio, if you're actually looking at it.
It's a matter of
So I always teach, if you're going to then say something horrible about the air traffic control,
double check, yeah.
Just make sure to say TX, for transmit on the radio, because otherwise it's going to be.
It's their airspace.
That's about, otherwise we wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't know if it's stuck.
No.
So we do hear it every now and then.
It's amazing, and you can sometimes we will try and transmit over the top of someone if they have a stuck switch, just to try and override them if we have stuff to do. I don't know if the crews always hear us, but again, it all depends on the situation. I don't know how technically it works.
Yeah, stronger signal usually gets through.
Yeah,
we've had it here before. Somebody's flying around the circuit and they've got stuck in the tower. Then you can still hear the tower at the top. Usually, proximity.
Yeah. We will try and transmit over the top and try and keep things moving, and hopefully that person frees up the switch. You can normally tell who it is. Then you'd go back in, just be advised, I think you may have had a stuck transmit switch. And then there's obviously 2 people looking at each other thinking, oh, what did I say? Hoping it was nothing. So, yeah. It's happened before. So yes.
Anybody online got a question? I've got to get you up there.
We're not ignoring you, I promise. No pressure. We're staring at you all now.
I have a question. Just going back to the how much notice to give you. Is there like a maximum amount of time where you would be like, don't ask me now? Because I've called Stansted before and said, can I have a transit in about 15 minutes and a basic service outside? And then they just gave me a squawk. And then when I was a bit closer, I then confirmed routing and got the transit.
So to me, there's nothing wrong with that. 15 minutes all depends on your speed. So that could be, I don't know, 15 miles, 20 miles, unless you're hoovering along. You know what I mean? So I'm happy that you call further out. We have this with a lot of the corporate helicopters looking to transit Luton. So they'll call a way out. So at least that way we know to give you a squawk. We can identify you. We now know who you are. Then as you get a little bit closer, because the traffic situation can change so much, we could potentially do a runway change in that time. So it's good you call that far out, and then we can come up with a plan to fit you in when you get closer. Hopefully we don't forget that you're looking for transit. If at any point you think we have done, you go in, request routing. It can't hurt to ask, on the off chance that we may have sort of missed you in the scan.
Yeah.
But we will come in with a transit clearance as soon as we can, and if needs be, give you a clearance limit to hold north of the field, south of the field, or give you a VRP to route to.
Okay. I didn't give any like details of the routing though in the first call. I just said like, oh, I will want to transit at some point. Like, would you want to know the details then, or is it not important at that time?
If you are looking for an overhead transit, then specify that. So requesting transit via the Stansted overhead or 2-2 threshold. If you're looking to just clip the corner, looking to transit the northeastern corner, northwestern corner, if you give us a rough idea, and we can normally tell by the way you're heading, again, it all depends on the routing that you're flying. But if it's going to go through the overhead, let us know from the outset so we can start to fall.
I think you know what Stella's talking about is when we was doing your mock skills test, wasn't it?
Yeah, so there was turning points beforehand, so I didn't want to talk about the routing because there was like loads of points, and it got a bit complicated. But yeah,
It's like a slightly unusual circumstance because you're not in a straight line. And
Box us, yeah.
out of Elstree,
Yes.
doing a little bit of a navigation general handling, but
Yeah.
then wanting to go through the southern stub of Stansted.
Okay.
And I said, you've got a couple of options here.
Yeah.
But to be honest, the best way I would normally do it is as soon as you're outside of Elstree, go on to Stansted, get the basic service, get the wheels in motion,
Yes.
you get squawk.
Yeah.
You've got to get through to them that you're also going to want a zone trans, but just
Yeah.
not yet.
Yeah.
Because if you leave it really late, where we end up is close. I mean, we're just off the Puckeridge VRP.
Okay.
You're literally skimming the edge.
Yeah.
If you haven't spoken to Stansted at that point in time, they can be getting
We're getting twitchy.
a bit twitchy.
Yeah.
And you might not get the clearance, the zone transit straight away. So now you've got to circle around, being careful not to bust the airspace. So that's why I'd always advise get the call in early. It's just how we're going to use the word to say, but I don't want zone transit yet, but in say 15 minutes time. And that worked really well, didn't it?
it worked. Yeah, we got it.
Just call me when you get closer.
If you say a bit of a NavX beforehand, we'll call you when ready. Perfect. So we know that you're going to be doing something magical at some point. That's our tone. And then you'll call us for the transit and then specify the route that you want.
It works really well. I've seen both ways. So I'll call them when I want the transit.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking, okay.
Because as you know,
This
that's
is
a
gonna
really
be
busy
tricky,
bit of airspace around
You
there.
have no idea how busy it's been. When you change over to Stansted's frequency,
Yeah.
it's going to be full on.
And also around Puckeridge, that's one of
Yeah.
the arrival routes for helicopters. You may or may not, again, depending on how much experience you have. If we have helicopters coming in from the southwest and west, we'll bring them in by Puckeridge. So that is a really busy VRP on a busy helicopter.
Yeah, literally sitting outside the ATC,
Yeah.
it's safe straight to the Heathrow. Get the wheels in motion. The best one I did was I was coming back down from up north, was doing something, and I called Luton. Maybe you or a plane might have been on. I must have still been about 50 miles away or more. But
Why did you range out?
Yeah, I could just stay out here. I can hear them. I might as well stay now on his own transit, but it might not be for a little while. So how far out are you? About 50 miles?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could hear. I was quite high.
Well, that's good because the other thing is with Luton, the low-level radio coverage to the northwest isn't very good. If
It's
you're
terrible, isn't it? It's really bad.
So we're not ignoring you. We may hear you. You can't hear us.
Yeah, sometimes you have to go to Bryce, don't you?
I don't know. I've never spoken to Bryce.
Because by the time we get to, if I'm flying
It used to be one of our defaults, wasn't it? When we headed up to Toe Western from, say, I don't know, 10 miles southwest of the sort of CTR area.
Yeah.
Around the area. Going up there, we'd lose Farnborough, but too far away from, say, Toe Western.
Yeah.
So Luton used to be a bit of a default to talk to,
Yeah.
regardless.
Well, that's it with the default. Okay.
So, But it is so sketchy there, the reception.
It is the low level coverage, yeah.
It's not good at all.
I've had to ask some arrivals to relay to light aircraft if I've lost them, or even the police helicopter, because they've gone down there chasing something or they found something interesting. I would just ask an inbound just to relay that I can hear them, but they obviously.
But weirdly enough, there's not guys any train in the way, is there? Around that. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can see the airport visually, and the reception's terrible.
Yeah,
it's good. Well, yeah, there's nothing in the way.
No.
But the number of times, don't you, around the west side of Luton CTR, around there, it's not good at all, the reception.
Yeah. So also, if you can't hear us, if I've given a clearance 3 times and I've had nothing, don't be surprised if you're asked to remain outside controlled airspace, because we may be unsure if it's your radio. Is there any kind of issue? If you're not listening out and I've given transits, if for any reason you stop listening to me or stop responding, I don't know what you're going to do. So always, if you can, keep a good listen out when you're outside listening for a clearance. And of course, part of entering controlled airspace is having two-way, maintain a listening watch to ATC.
If you're outside waiting for clearance, I'm told to stand by.
Yes.
5 minutes has gone by, that's fine. 10 minutes has gone by. 20 minutes is going a long time. They've completely.
You could be home for lunch.
To sort of chase you and say.
So that's a difficult one, because I put my hands up. I've forgotten to go back to traffic before, because you end up getting drawn into your arrival sequence and your arrival traffic. If at any point you do think we've forgotten and it has gone very, very quiet, you're thinking, don't be afraid to ask. But sometimes we haven't forgotten, but you can't see what's going on behind us. And that's the thing. We can have the senior watch assistant who sits in the middle coming down with details of non-standard flights. So I've just been told the Henryman's going to get airborne, going to Luton Town. I'm now trying to speak to the tower. There's so much that can be going off in the background, or traffic coming in with an emergency. Am I now having to generate a gap? Am I having to speak to other sectors? That is such a hard one to judge.
7.5 minutes was the answer, wasn't
it? Yeah, give or take 7.5 minutes, yes.
6 seconds, like that.
Don't.
We've forgotten about this. Yeah, it's just
occasionally
I've asked that as well.
So yes, we have.
Yeah, no, just but anyway, what was it?
On the phone. But no, sometimes there are instances where we
don't realise sometimes, even though they said the airways might be quiet, other things might be occurring.
There can be a lot of other stuff going on in the background,
Can we all say hi, Amanda, over here on the radio?
Of course, you always say hello, yes. I seem to get
not meant to, are you? Not meant to chit chat and say hello. How are you?
Another lady sounds really similar.
Yeah, there's somebody that if you train somebody else.
She's referred to herself as my stunt double. I know the crew's learnt my name probably about 17 or 18 years ago in Stansted. They found it highly amusing. Then everyone else learnt it. And now it seems to be a regular thing, which is nice. And again, it's nice when they know that they can ask you and come straight to you. We need this, we need that. It's just a relationship we built up over the years. And during COVID, that was when it really started to hit home, because you'd have the helicopters flying, the emergency helicopters. The whole UK airspace was empty apart from a couple. And you could hear it in their voices. We're all human. At the end of the day, we're all human. And you could hear the fear. They had such uncertainty. And again, the cargo's out of standstill moving the COVID tests. They don't know where they're going to end up or what's going to happen. So to me, that puts such a human spin on things. So I will always be there as Amanda to help you as air traffic. And if you need anything, as I said, just ask. My colleagues and I will always do everything we can to help you out if you need something. But don't be afraid to ask. You're welcome.
Anybody else online?
I've got a couple of questions for Amanda. Hey, all right. So question number one. Once the airspace infringement occurs, like maybe you're on the boundary or you just kind of clip it, or maybe a vertical, a bit of turbulence and you clip it. Is it always a paperwork process that follows, or is it like automatically from a computer, or is there some discretion from the controller?
So if you have entered controlled airspace without a clearance, we have no discretion. We have to go into paperwork, I'm afraid. We have a controlled airspace infringement tool. So that means if you're, say, squawking 7,000, you inadvertently enter controlled airspace, either vertically or laterally, you'll go magenta. So we've seen that you've entered, that's now been logged in our systems, you've entered controlled airspace for that clearance. So we then have to go into paperwork. If for any reason you were talking to us and the squawk hadn't appeared, we can obviously feed that back. But any infringement of controlled airspace, I'm afraid, that is straight into paperwork for the controller.
Okay, great. All right. Second question. It's a bit of a strange one, but I've just been through my PPL skills test and all that kind of stuff where we practice Mayday calls. And now when we're sort of operating in the circuit or we request a basic service or anything like that, we kind of wait for a nice quiet moment and we try and make the radio call between other transmissions. With a Mayday call, we don't really get the luxury of time for that. So can we just like hit the transmit button and expect any of that transmission to get through, or is it going to, from your point of view, is it going to be blocked and you just don't hear any of it?
I'm not sure what the question. If you declare a Mayday on my frequency, I'm now going to start shouting for help. I've never had any practice emergencies done on my frequency. That's where D&D comes in. If you do have an emergency, you declare straight away. But with regards to practice, that is something I've never had, not on my frequency. So
that would be for like a real situation. I was thinking, hopefully none of us have to encounter it. But in the training, right, we would just wait for any kind of different radio call. We would wait for a quiet moment, and then when we ask for a basic service or whatever it happens to be, with a Mayday call, like a real one, you wouldn't have the luxury of time for that.
Oh no, you go straight in. We suddenly know our focus is on you. If we haven't identified you, we will do. At that point, I'm now calling back from my supervisor. So-and-so's declared a Mayday. Other traffic on frequencies now listening out for you. We're figuring out where you are, what's wrong, and we're taking it from there. But at that point, if you declare an emergency, I'm busy, I will get everybody else to shush.
But if we declared it whilst you're transmitting, you wouldn't know.
He's asking if the mic's hot.
No,
if the mic's hot,
No.
would you hear it?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, you wouldn't hear it, would you?
Okay.
But the chances are you're short, your calls are quite short, so you'd probably catch the tail end of a maid and think, hang on, that doesn't sound like a standard call.
But that would be the same with any communication, not just in controlled airspace. If the mic's hot with other traffic, it wouldn't be heard.
No. You might, if I've caught the tail end of two transmissions, I will come in, probably not Cat 413, 2 stations at once there. I caught, and I will give the course that I think that I've heard, or 2 stations at once, say again, and hope they don't both come in together. There's also that possibility that they become really polite and they both hold back and no one talks to me. So it's a difficult one, but no, they wouldn't be able to differentiate between the emergency.
At that moment, the Mayday presumably would just do it, something straight away again, even than they've heard.
Yeah.
But you can, crikey, you can tell in somebody's voice if something's quite serious, there's a tone to it, that's for sure.
Also,
you can pick up on that immediately. That's not just somebody saying, can I have his own transit? That's something far more serious.
If you think you've heard of Mayday, would you give all stations hold?
All stations stand by.
Stand by to see.
Declare an emergency.
Because we might not have caught the tail end of it.
Yeah.
You're giving all stations hold.
Yeah, I've never had to use it before. I hope I don't have to use it, but the phraseology is all stations stand by, Mayday on frequency. But normally, the IFR crews, if you say we're going to have a short delay, emergency traffic inbound, everybody just sits. And everybody is good as gold.
I heard that the other day, actually. Was it either Elstree or was it Farnborough's frequency? I heard that on somebody's frequency. I remember going on and I can't remember if we'd already made a call, but they heard exactly that.
Yeah.
But they didn't say Mayday, but there was definitely
all stations stand by, emergency on frequency,
that's right.
Emergency inbound. So you know the situation, you don't know the full situation, but you've now got part of that situational awareness of okay.
Elstree had the pan, didn't it? Sweet.
I think that might have been it. Yeah,
they just said stand by.
That's right. Because Elstree
kept calling in.
They said they just told everybody just stand by.
All stations stand by.
Right. And somebody repeats standing by. It's like, oh dear.
Oh dear. Yeah.
That means
you know who you are.
Somebody called and asked if they could load the fuel. Currently on all stations.
Are you declaring an emergency?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think they were. No, this is it.
This was
They've
another.
been told standby. Someone said, "Oh, I'm only coming in for fuel." That was the pan call. It was like, excuse me, but it's all right. I need some fuel.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
again, it's all about priorities of flights. Yeah. Yeah.
I've said this before. I've found that over the years listening, I've heard various, thankfully, no full-blown Maydays, but I've heard other aircraft in the sky. They clearly got a problem, some description,
Yes.
but don't declare it.
No.
They won't declare it. There's a slight bit of denial.
Sometimes there is, and sometimes you can just sort of tap the little shell. Are you sure everything's okay? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Are you really sure? No. Sometimes you have, yeah. The other teller for me is with arriving traffic or the IFR, the airlines, the cargoes. If I give them an instruction and they tell me to stand by,
Just think about it.
I know something's in the offing. The last time that happened to me, I got a mayday with an engine failure on departure because they told me to stand by. I'm thinking, oh,
That's not good, is it?
3 o'clock in the morning, that focuses the mind, yeah. So straight in the priority line to the tower, those returning, engine failure. They just want to go through their checklists, vector them back in, back down. Wasn't an overweight landing, but of course that call to the tower, they've now got the emergency services ready. They know who it is. They're ready to roll.
But sometimes you need that time to think, what's my next move, don't you? Rather than calling an emergency that isn't an emergency.
Kind of weirdly.
Especially as private pilots.
Yeah, because you need to go through everything else. You need to fly the aircraft first and foremost.
Aviate, navigate, communicate.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just drops back into that again.
And if you want us to shush, because so time, let me get this right, condenses for you, time expands for us. We feel we need to fill that void and talk to you. You're going, stop it. She's still talking.
Everything's happening, it's all full on and
yeah.
They
had an engine failure.
So that was the plane at B1 and it had to take off.
When they called me, they were passing, let's say 2,500, 3,000 feet. I don't know at what point
They'd already committed.
They were committed. Yeah, I know certain alarms are stifled below a certain level. I think because of being able to get the aircraft airborne. I don't know how true this is, but then all of a sudden you'll start to hear everything. Engine failure. They're now getting a list of things. But yeah, when they said stand by, I thought I can't give you to London now, can I? Because I knew there was something.
There's obviously something not
right. I just didn't know.
It's very unusual
what it was.
Yeah.
Especially on departure, stand by at that time in the morning. Yeah.
What if the worst thing happens? Let's say, worst case scenario, and then you say stand by all stations.
Yes.
And then you see this aircraft just crashes into the ground. You know they're dead. You just skip everything back again. Like, do you talk normally because you know that there's nothing to do with them?
I've got to keep traffic moving.
Yeah.
I will have, God forbid, that's happened. I've now.
Everything continues to
normal.
normal.
Up in the sky and need to come in the land, or
I've got to keep everything. I've got to get everyone down safely. If for any reason, depending on where it is in relation to the airfield. That may depend on whether the airfield fire service has to go out, which could automatically drop my fire category down to 0. Once the airport fire category drops to 0, nobody can land. So I'm now into delay not determined, like with the car park fire at Luton, because the fire service had to go out to the car park. The fire category dropped, so nothing could land.
Would you pass the aircraft onto another airfield?
It's now a matter of we're delay not determined and then finding out where the crews want to go, where they want to divert to. That decision isn't mine to make. I would advise the crews confirm what's your alternate, where would you like to go, and then we start making the phone calls to see if they will accept it.
It's totally hypothetically, but it's just for interest. But could you then still take an emergency land? Say one of those pilots was low on fuel, could they still just land?
I would have to ask someone, because if you're low on fuel, you're not really want to go to land somewhere without a fire cover. But then it also depends on the company procedures.
So I'm thinking more for like a helicopter.
I would have to check with the tower. I'd be beholden to maybe what they say because it's down to the aerodrome authority. I'm just the interim, and if you say I'm going here, I'm going to ring the tower. They're coming your way. They're not taking no for an answer, and I don't know.
So it's possible that we can be flying a helicopter, say to Long Navex, and we might only have enough fuel to get. I know we would divert, we would plan to have.
We just land in the field.
Yeah,
we just
just do it.
Down we go.
Just tell them.
Said, I can't stop you from doing anything. I can only advise you. It would be at that point I'm now asking for guidance because I'd be in a situation I'd never see and I never want to see. But as you said, if there was an aircraft accident, I would keep going as radar. It's up to me to keep things moving. I would then more than likely get another controller back to take me out of position because I've witnessed just what's happened. Then you have the human factor side come in. I have seen traffic disappear off radar and they had crashed in Essex. I was expecting to talk to them. They got airborne. I went to do some coordination. I looked back, they're gone. The next thing I knew, my supervisor come down with Essex police on the phone. So it can happen. I'm not saying it can't, but at that point, you do keep everything moving because you have everybody's safety in your hands, and then they will get somebody back for you.
How do you deal with the gliders at Dunstable?
In what respect?
Well, they're there.
They are.
It's good. Do they have transponders, all of them now? Radio?
To my knowledge, no.
Just kind of know they're there and hope they don't keep circling around in a lovely thermal and.
So I know the space is active. Not all gliders have transponders.
That's right.
Not all gliders have radios. So we will advise to avoid the immediate vicinity of Dunstable Downs, caution intense gliding, and just advise you of their presence. But again,
more of the actual the big planes, departures, arrivals from Luton, in and out of Luton.
So we have certain levels we cannot overflow. We cannot, if there's quite a large bit of airspace we delegate to Dunstable under a letter of agreement that we have. The arrivals know there's intense gliding activity. If Dunstable Downs has the airspace allocated to them, we cannot go through IFR. That's one thing. We cannot vector through their IFR. VFR transits, yes, but again, keep a good look at avoiding the immediate vicinity.
How do they get the airspace?
They would have to ring into the group supervisor. That has to be done with coordination with us. The GS will come down to us. Dunstable are looking for either 25 or the 07 airspace. We will say yes or no, depending if there's potential runway change in the offing. We will then put the airspace on our map so we know it's active. We'll bring active strips into our display, and then Dunstable will be given the airspace.
Got it.
So there's a lot of steps to get everything in place. But no, they're not all transponding, and there are bits where they don't have to carry a radio. So it can take.
Have a limited height.
They have, so the top will go up to 3,500 feet. So we know we can go to the top of 4. So we know to avoid.
Still quite close, isn't it?
It is.
Do you ever get any reports of?
So the arrivals will mention the gliders, but because we don't see them on radar all the time, and of course we don't have a height readout. Again, it's like if you're outside controlled airspace, you can be there at 2,500. I can be going over the top of you at 3.
Yeah.
But because if you have mode Charlie, I normally know, I will normally advise my arrivals. There is traffic outside controlled airspace, 500 feet below, they are outside. I don't have to do that. But for the crew situational awareness, it's not at that point, yeah, traffic.
Yeah.
As the crews are just double, are you sure they can be there? Yeah, they're outside, you're inside. So we only need 500 feet for that, but I need 1,000 feet. You're both talking to me inside controlled airspace, IFR, yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So what about if we were literally, not that we would do this, but just skimming the base of controlled airspace by 50 foot?
I'd rather you didn't.
What's the 500 foot? You've got to do 1,000.
So if you're on the base of controlled airspace,
I mean, I'm literally, I haven't quite got the rotor blade in it, but it's close. Hypothetically,
the craft's in there.
yeah.
And so,
Don't stick your arm out because you're free.
So in an ideal world, we have take 200 feet off the base, but we do have people that operate on the base of controlled airspace. If you enter controlled airspace without a clearance, and I am within 3 miles of you, I am taking avoiding.
No, we're still below 2,450. How much clearance do you have to give to your traffic in there?
500 feet. If you're
just 500
just
foot.
500, yeah.
So there's literally 501 feet between us if I'm getting a bit close.
Charlie's. So yeah, we can have
It's still a 500 foot, isn't it? Yeah.
Which seems bizarre.
It's quite close to something big.
You can normally tell when you've kind of spooked someone by going over the top, because all of a sudden they go, whoa, because they're maybe not necessarily expecting a 747 to go over the top. It's like for 04, we'll be dropping to 2,000 feet on the left base, and there could be traffic there at 1,500. And all of a sudden the sky has disappeared because you've got this whopping great 74 going over the top. But again, how does that work with big turbulence?
Never read it.
It's
I'm underneath this big stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Never read it. In fact, no one even really mentions it anymore. I've had it mentioned a handful of times. It's really mentioned.
As long as you're not flying through the flight path, isn't it? Or the wind's going to carry it. Then we'll stay clear of it.
Yeah.
We just advise you of arriving traffic if you're offset from the centre line. But if traffic's outside controlled airspace, they're not going to know what's inbound until they suddenly see it and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's just one of those things, because not everybody wants to talk to us. Not everybody has an awareness sometimes. So like days like this are invaluable, just sort of showing the integration of traffic between the airports and GA, and just a greater awareness on both sides.
It's definitely getting better over the years. And we've had this conversation before. When I learned to fly, it was, well, my main instructor was not like this, but I had another instructor, and I turned the transponder on and he went, oh, let's turn that off.
Oh, just turn it back on again.
It's like, why? I said, well, they'll see you. Well, that's the point. No, if you bust airspace, they'll know who you are. Or something else. Well, how about a don't bust airspace and we turn it on, so they can see us? That was quite a common thing to be taught. Transponders, leave that on. Don't turn that on.
My flying training years and years ago, that was mentioned to me. Just turn your transponder. No, please don't do that.
It was taught.
Yeah.
It's taught, because otherwise they'll catch you.
Find you in ways and means. But again, as I'd said, if you don't talk to them, even if you're going to be right on the base, let us know. What it takes is a bit of weather, a bit of turbulence, a bit of wind shear. You don't know where you're going to end up. You called me on Stansted one morning. Normally, on a morning shift, I keep an eye out for Paul because I know where he lives. So he'll get airborne, going to Elstree. But I was on Stansted this morning. I thought, well, hello, Paul's calling me. He doesn't normally call me on Stansted. I thought, oh, where's this one going to go? And you had weather, didn't you?
It was the fastest zone transit I've ever had in my life. I think from me squeezing the trigger to getting the clearance, it couldn't have been. It was less than 30 seconds easily.
It was quite expeditious.
It was very good. It worked really well. So I just need to get around that rain, as it were. And thanks to you.
So Paul for airborne normally talks to Luton and says hello and everything. But this morning he was talking to Stansted, and I thought something's, because I'm used to talking to Paul in his routing. Requesting transit for weather. Perfect. You've spoken to me, you've asked me, you've told me what you need. If you, for any reason you need to deviate and enter controlled airspace for weather, ask us. Just let us know. Because you can't fly through on the grounds of safety. So therefore, you need any kind of deviation, ask us. We can make anything work.
That's really good, because you gave me that, and I think afterwards you had the small conversation of which bit you need to go through there after that. You give me the clearance straight away. So I didn't try and push myself into the horrible weather and whatnot.
No, if you needed to avoid any further, if for any reason, again, for the safety of you and your aircraft, if I have to put any checks on with departing traffic, I will do, because it's safety critical. Just because it's GA doesn't make any difference. It's still safety critical. So that's what we do.
I see Heathrow being happy with that in the heli lanes.
Oh, you'd have to ask Heathrow especially about that one. I'm not getting involved in that conversation.
Yeah, you don't go in the first place, isn't it? But yeah.
If you need anything else, and if you can't do something,
But there was earlier on in the year, there was a story in the news, wasn't there, about a helicopter, I'm not going to say who, landing in Richmond Park. So a single engine, so in the heli lanes, and the weather must have been that bad, they landed in Richmond Park because they couldn't carry on.
I didn't see this.
I was thinking, how on earth they managed to get in there in the first place? As in, it was, must have been pretty good. You know what I'm talking about?
Dogs.
No.
Really, someone I No, but it was along those lines. So we've always thought, don't go in the heli lanes if you even think for 1 second the weather might catch you out, because it's not good, is it? Especially if you're right deep in the middle of London.
That comes back to special VFR, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We just still want to drag you back to.
If you're requesting special VFR, it's either pretty foul weather,
or
it's just a technicality, as we said earlier, because your weather is
a single engine piston.
So this is where we could get in. So when we've gone to special VFR, if it's going to carry on dropping, you go IFR and you can't fly IFR. We're now both wondering what you're going to do.
Yeah.
If I have to stop my arriving or departing traffic to get you in for safety, then that is an option. That's something we will do.
Yes.
But if at any point you now can't see the ground, I'm thinking, am I sort of almost aiding and abetting here to get you in when it may not be safe to do so? I'm having to go off what you're telling me your flight conditions are. And that's why it's VFR outside the ATZ. Inside the ATZ, we're going off the airfield weather because we can assume it sort of spreads out to about 1.5 to 2 miles. That's what we're looking at. But I don't want anything to happen to you, because if the weather goes or you suddenly get a rain shower come through and your visibility drops, I don't know what you're going to do. You may not know what you're going to do. So I don't know, land in the field and wait for it to pass.
This is like a bowl, isn't it? It's just
you don't know what's
you
going to
go a little way out and it's like blue sky. It really does seem like a bowl sometimes.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's like the weather at Luton could be one thing, the weather at Stansted is another.
Yeah.
We can be on opposite ends. 2.5 versus 0.4 or 2.2 versus 0.7. It's normally the entire TMA will go together and we'll either have a day of easterlies or westerlies, but sometimes we can be on opposing ends because Luton's on a hill, that'll be in low vis, Stansted will be bright sunshine. You just don't know. You just don't know.
I think because the two teams are quite close to each other.
Yeah. Only about 20 miles of each other, yeah.
I went on frequency, I think it might have been last year, I don't think this year, with a student, wanted just to practice his own transit.
Yeah.
We've done all the thing in the classroom
Yeah.
and off we go. We've changed over to 12955. Oh, it's Amanda. And then suddenly they all hold on. She sounds like she's working quite hard.
We should binge there too.
Oh, yeah. Trying to get a picture of what's happening.
Yeah.
It sounds like, literally, it sounds like you've got the big planes landing this way,
Yeah.
and you've got them taking off that way because there's a whopping great big storm that's out to the west, and it sounded like
That sounds like my first Luton board. They wanted to land one end, depart the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and they
said
just
no.
come on frequency thinking, oh, we might not get his own transit here because
Which
they're
is
working
new one, yeah.
really
Yeah.
hard. So we'd have to modify what we wanted. So we waited till there's a nice gap. This will show how well you accommodate.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a bit of a gap. Well, chance our arm. Oh, Amanda, any chance we could just stay up to the south so we don't
Yes.
affect you? And he did actually let us go through.
If you're
Let's
not
do his
going
own
to affect
transit, even though you're
anything,
working really hard because of the weather.
Yeah,
I think I said to you,
temperature,
I
yeah.
can literally see it.
Yeah.
It helps down that western end.
that sounds
Storm.
familiar actually, yeah. Again, where everything wants to deviate for weather inbound and outbound. We don't have weather radar. We don't have a weather overlay, so we can't see it. I'm dependent on the crews giving me an update or a Met Office
You
printout.
literally have nothing.
We have no overlay in case we use it to vector
Yeah.
and anything happens.
Yeah, of course.
So we rely on the crews, and you can normally tell from the empty patch on radar. And yeah, there's the weather. So yeah, and if traffic suddenly departs, we need this heading for weather. You're thinking that's when you're now thinking on your feet because it's deviating from the route. It's not technically my airspace. It's going to go into London's airspace, so I'm now having to coordinate with adjacent sectors. As you said, you can hear.
Yeah, I could hear it was quite
The complexity.
stressful on
Yeah.
what was going on. And
Well,
I could see it off to the west of Luton. There's a great big cell there.
Yes.
Just black, nothing, couldn't see through it,
No.
etc.
Nobody
The
wants
rest
to
of it's
go
actually
near
quite clear. Everywhere else is quite nice.
It normally is.
Yeah.
Do you find Neos take more weather avoidance than others? I don't know if you've been told this.
Neos, is that?
Frequency Neo.
Oh, okay.
Is it you can kind of see more even if
It's a really overly sensitive radar
Yeah.
compared to the older variants.
Yes.
So the older variants are actually more, I'm not going to say reliable, but they paint a more clearer picture of what the weather's doing. Whereas the new
some
fancy,
people want to avoid more weather than others.
so I mean, there is a threshold of what you're comfortable with. But
Yeah.
I find the Neo, especially, both airlines I've worked at, it really overpaints what's actually there.
A little bit
and
more
you'll find
twitchy.
anyone who's flying on an arrival from a Neo versus a CO, a classic one.
Okay.
Classic one will probably be more happy staying on the prescribed track.
Okay.
Whereas Neo might go, oh, we're going to come 10 left because it's painting, say, yellow, maybe a little bit of
I'll
red.
keep an
whereas-
eye out for that.
Yeah.
Next year I'll let you know. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I found, we had to do that the other day, and we were coming up to Lambourne for 27 right, and we had to go back via Biggin because our weather radar was just painting absolute rubbish compared to what other people had.
Really?
Yeah.
It's incredible, isn't it? Again, I said I don't have weather radar, so I'm now reliant on
I think that's why the controller said you're routing via biggin now, because we've taken such an it's like, yeah, I can't.
We're taking you down here, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I just didn't know if you noticed it at Luton or not.
No, we have quite a few Neos though.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We do have more and more, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye out for that one. I'll be ready for it.
Anybody else with a question? Online, in-house?
No.
All right, so talk to us about the magical word. Oh, you have done a little bit already. Confirm, because it often seems to be, misunderstanding, and I'd like to confirm that for us.
So confirm can mean it can mean I've maybe not heard something, I've misheard something. I just want clarification on what you're going to do. Doesn't mean you've done something wrong. I just need you to reiterate maybe a clearance I've given you, an altitude, because sometimes maybe a transmission can be clipped or my phone's gone off. A phone call's happened or someone's appeared behind me and I've missed the last part of you reading back a clearance. So I'm just going, just confirm 2,000 feet. And you're thinking, oh, did I get it wrong? No, not at all. I just need to double check because it's going to be a mandatory part of a read back that I need on the grounds of safety. And I'd rather go in and double check. It's like I said, you don't make stuff up. If you think you've heard it or you're not sure, go back in and confirm.
What are the mandatory bits that you need? Define exactly what the mandatory bits are.
So for a clearance, I will need your clearance limit. So let's say I've cleared you into the Luton zone, hide to hold.
Yeah.
Not above 2,000 feet of VFR, advised field in sight. And I'm sure you may correct me here. So I need your clearance limit, which is hide, the altitude restriction, not above 2,000 feet, and the flight rules of VFR.
That's the three.
They're the mandatory,
yeah.
I will ask for field insight just so I know when you can see the airport. That's going to be my cue to say, brilliant, they can see the airfield. If I'm going to give you to Luton Tower, it will be with the field insight. That's part of my internal communication with the tower. But Q&H is mandatory read back, altitude. Again, we go to headings, but again with VFR, I will not give you a heading because I cannot guarantee you'll remain VFR on that heading. So it'll be own navigation. And if anything, I'm going off the topic here, but if you can't go to a waypoint, you need to do a bit of deviation for weather. You just let me know.
Why in 413 is it mandatory for hectopascals below 1,000?
I don't know. I want millibars to come back, but it's not going to happen.
Isn't it because it could be misconstrued with inches of mercury? If somebody's altimeters here, so it's an American.
Because it'd be 20 or 2 something, yeah. Because the 9 is, I think.
It was that. I seem to remember there's an old story of somebody misunderstood the units being used,
yes,
and therefore stuck the wrong thing on the altimeter. That was what I was told back in a very long time ago.
Even now we have an alert on radar which will show if the Q&H has been put in. It reads off the Heathrow, so we have the London Q&H set on all our radars. But if it's, I'm going to use the word millibars here, I appreciate it. But if it's 5 millibars or more different to the London, the mode Charlie, the height readout will flash yellow to show that there's a mismatch. So the system knows that the aircraft, by interrogating its mode Sierra, has the wrong Q&H or an incorrect Q&H in. And we do see this a lot of time in American crews, especially in low pressure. That's when level busts are most prevalent, because if they continue climbing on the pressure of, say, 990, and they need to go across to 1013, they're going to bust their level and they're going to meet the traffic above. So we have an alert there, but I think you are right. It is because the inches of mercury, because we still have the American military going to Mildenhall and Lakenheath that will be using inches of mercury.
What's all commercial airports set there? This is 1013, it's standard.
We have a lot of biz jets. The amount of private biz jets and American registered crews, because of course their transition level is so much higher, it's all a matter of what they're used to. So of course you come to the UK and our transition level, well, it varies, but transition altitude 6,000 feet. This is where we will always just keep an eye out, just to make sure, in very low pressure.
Transition layer.
Oh, hello. This is where we're going to the world of altimetry. Paul, help me.
Yeah. So that's how you would understand it. If you were going to fly above what would be the transition level. It's changed since you did air law.
It's
then you would go on to 1013. Yeah, that's
TMA,
right.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Because outside the London TMA, it's 3,000 feet.
Yeah.
The transition altitude inside the London TMA, 6,000 feet.
Or as published in the AIP is often the answer in the exam. Yeah. So yes, it's variable. In other words,
Yeah.
varies, doesn't it, from place to place? Yeah. For us, for the most part, it never affects us. It's just never that high.
Which is good.
Something around here. Yeah.
We're going into paperwork, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you said something about, and I was going to say, oh yes.
Oh dear.
No,
What do I say?
no, it's okay. Yeah. Oh yes, so confirm. That was it. So, so if you've asked us just to confirm 2,000 feet, what are you expecting us to say?
A firm, not above 2,000 feet.
What about if we then said, confirm 2,000 feet?
So you're now asking me to confirm 2,000.
Yeah.
Hey, firm, just confirm to confirm. This is where we could go to like into a Morecambe and White.
Well, I heard this. I heard the exchange between a pilot and an air traffic controller, and it went on a few times. Well, it feels like it went on 20 times. It didn't, but it went on a few times. I was thinking, just say A firm or something like that.
You're actually looking for the level, not just A firm, right? You're looking for
I'm looking for a readback.
You're looking for 2,000 feet.
The problem is
A firm 2,000 feet, or not just A firm.
the more pilot thought they're getting a readback, but they kept using the word confirmed.
Yeah.
But the air traffic controllers then thinking, I maybe they didn't hear me properly. Yeah, confirm 2,000 feet, and then pilot, confirm 2,000 feet. It literally went backwards and forwards until somebody gave up eventually. I think more actual trust. No, I'm asking you. Do you realise it's 2,000 feet? Oh, A firm.
So what do you use to radio?
Yeah, we still use Roger. Wilco.
Aren't they slightly subtle differences?
Yes.
What they-
Wilco, I understand,
different.
and will comply. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very different. Roger means basically just heard that last transmission. Yeah, just really acknowledging it. We tend to, just out of interest, when I tend to teach in the early days, I tend not to let the students use it too much. I'd rather they spend more time actually using the words on the radio.
Yeah, just to get into a good habit.
Yeah, but then the other thing I've often heard is a student will say, "Oh, Wilco or Roger." I said, "So what did they say then?" "Oh, I don't know."
And this is the thing, don't make it up. If you're not sure,
They sort of look blankly at me. Oh, what should I say? Well, definitely not Wilco. Agree to something. What do you agree to?
Not sure.
Oh no, what should I do? Well, why didn't you ask them to read it again? Yeah.
Well, copy sometimes works, doesn't it?
that's something I don't hear very often.
I occasionally use that. I don't know where I picked that up from, but
We sometimes say copy the traffic. That's a
yeah,
term.
quite
Copy traffic.
often, if I'm coming out or going in or coming out, they'll say got outbounds on 04, and I go copy the outbound traffic.
Yeah, rather than read the whole lot back.
Because they'll give me a long ask. Description of the traffic, and I go, yeah, copy that.
Or you'll give the traffic and then maybe something to do with the clearance or some description. So I might say, copy the traffic, then I'll get into the read back of that part. So yeah, I've got the traffic, thank you, rather than reading every bit of traffic back, because you don't want to do that, do you?
So that's
You just want us to acknowledge it.
See, so far, so.
If you're visual with it, record visual, yeah.
Or sometimes copy the traffic, not visual.
Yeah.
It's quite often the stated controllers will say report visual, and I'll say I'm not visual. I'm there.
So who hand on heart definitely knows the exact wording we're supposed to use if we can or when we can't see other traffic, because it's changed over the years.
I probably couldn't tell you.
Hands up over here.
I've got one. I've got to go for it. Traffic not sighted. Is that right?
I don't know, because I'm
I like-
that's what I'm asking. You don't actually know.
I can ask me.
You have to go back to cat 4 and 3 again and have another quiz.
I don't mind if you use your discretion.
Sometimes I say looking. If you can't see it, I say looking.
Yeah.
I think it's the whole point, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys know?
It is traffic not sighted.
Yeah.
It's not looking for traffic.
Yeah, I think and then
There's
visual
some people
is
say
the other.
that I'm looking.
It would have to
It's
check.
very easy to then. If you only caught
Differentiate.
part of the transition, you could hear, have they or haven't they?
Yeah.
Because in the past, it used to be a little bit ambiguous if you only caught part of the transmission. If
That
they
makes
hadn't,
sense.
But the long and short of it is, just try and make it blatantly obvious. Can you or can't you?
Yes, AFM negative.
Yeah.
I've had traffic request descent before. They've asked me 3 times. I said, "Do you want to go up or down?" Because descent, ascent, too close. Hence, it's either climb or descent. So I have broken it down do you want to go up or down? It was, let's bring it right back to basics, just to ensure they know what I'm asking, they know what they're asking for. There's nothing stopping you just using plain English if you cannot find the word you're looking for. And especially if you're in an emergency situation, you're low hour, you're not used to radio, ask for help. And don't be afraid to again ask for help or declare an emergency. If you are in that situation, we will all sort of get you the help we need. Again, in different sectors, different airfields. We've got phone lines to all the small airfields, Elstree, North Weald. We've got phone lines to everywhere, so we can always ring ahead for you if you need anything.
Nothing. I think I know the answer, obviously, but
Why?
no, well, from your perspective, so you're very kindly giving us a traffic service, because you haven't got a lot else to do at this moment in time, and rather than sit there twiddling your thumbs, you'd rather talk to us. And you obviously told us about some traffic and whatever words we've used, we've made it obvious we can see that traffic. As far as you're concerned, that's it, you don't need to update us anymore, do you? Because we've said we can see it. So it would then be quite important as a pilot. If we hang on, I've lost it. Where's it gone? We ought to probably say we're no longer visual that traffic, shouldn't we?
If you've lost visual reference, then always say traffic no longer sighted. The fact you can't see it, and we can then update you. If it looks like it's going to get close, that's all, of course, worth saying you cannot see it, and I will update you again accordingly. Again,
I think that's something that sometimes gets lost is, this is why it's important to say whether we can or can't see that traffic, so the man then knows whether to continue updating us on this one or this one or this one, etc., etc. But if we lose sight of it again, or if it then suddenly comes into sight, we can then say, oh, the visual of the traffic is by 9 o'clock or whatever, that kind of thing.
Because what people don't realise, to me, 3 miles is about an inch of it. To you, 3 miles is a long way.
Yeah.
So we think we're being helpful by calling traffic 5 miles out because it is. It looks close to us.
You can't see it.
You can't see it now.
And maybe this is a big, Airbus A380 or something or whatever.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So to me, 3 miles isn't much. 3 miles to you guys is a lot more. And this is sometimes where I sometimes forget when I'm calling traffic. No way I can see that. But again,
but it gives us an idea. Okay, in maybe a minute or two, we might see it.
If I'm going to get a little bit busier, I will call it early call, and I'll prefix it something non-standard. So rather than you think she doesn't appreciate the fact it's far enough away or it's that distance away, I do, but I may not have the capacity in a couple of minutes to do it. And if for any reason I can't give a full-blown traffic service anymore, be a traffic service, reduce traffic information to control the workload, basic radar cover. If we do have to reduce it in any way, we will normally specify approach near to my radar display, little no warning of traffic ahead, or basic radar cover, little no warning of traffic from below. So there may be traffic coming in from some directions that we may not necessarily see.
And I say that cropped up last time we spoke, and that was with regard to this sort of conversation. I explained how hard it is for us to spot something below us. It's almost impossible. I mean, we were literally flying towards Swanee Luana earlier, trying to go and fly and say hello as we were about there. We could see them on our display. Could we see them outside?
Well, transponder on.
And we're barely half a mile away. That's how much they blend in with the background.
Only about 600 feet below, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I said to you before. Traffic, same level or above us is much. It's the spot below us.
Wow.
It's really, really difficult.
And that's something we also don't appreciate.
Yeah. So sometimes you're thinking, well, it's there right in front of you. And you're looking. Literally, we can't see it. The number of times something's blown past, we've never ever got to see it.
This is why. So I know on a basic service, I shouldn't call traffic. But if I think something is going to get close to you, I have a duty of care. If I see it, I will mention it. Just in case. I don't want to be the controller that's on radar that saw something and 2 aircraft have a collision.
Said something about it.
Again, to me, it's controller duty of care. If I see something, I can mention it and I can potentially prevent something, I will do. And I've done that in the past. I've had people say thank you because they're going into sun, they haven't clocked it, they haven't seen
especially
it.
into sun. So this time of year, end of the day, it's tough, isn't it? Sun just happens to be pretty much in the direction the wind usually comes from as well for everybody on the approach back into Elstree. You have known some of the smaller fixed wing this time of year, when it's a lovely day like it was today, they'll go back off to the local area, wait for the sun to set, then have another go and make an
Yeah.
approach again, because it just can't
Yeah.
see the runway very clearly. The trees are in the way.
Yeah.
Just out.
I've had aircraft get lost again, low sun, and you just hold their hand until they're ready to come back on. I had traffic, it was going into Panshanger years ago because that's no longer there. And I rang Panshanger and they weren't very nice to me because I think they thought I was going to say I had infringing traffic, and I didn't, that wasn't it. But this aircraft had got lost. This aircraft had infringed, but they didn't want to go across to that frequency until they were sure they could see it. So I just held their hands until they got within a couple of miles. Are you happy to continue? Yes. Are you sure? That's all it was. So just a bit of a, be gentle with them. They've not had the best flight, so just sort of look after them on landing. Yeah. We're there to help, really, I promise. We really are.
So I think when else is an appropriate use of the word Roger on the radio? When you're given a clearance?
Negative.
Yeah.
Without being given instances, I can't think.
No, and it's definitely not on a clearance, is it?
No.
That's for sure.
Mandatory readback items. If I've suddenly given you, since 3,000 feet, not that I would do because you're VFR, 3,000 feet, Q&H's, continue present heading, Roger, no. That
You
is
could
not
say
me.
Roger and then read it all back, but what's the point of saying the Roger to begin with, is
Well,
there?
if
It's not
you
done.
read back, you can say Roger,
That's it.
unless you say Roger and then nothing else. Then I go back in, confirm that clearance was, and I come back again. And that, and also, I know you'll be better at it, use your call sign. Read back. It sounds really simple.
Full call sign or abbreviated?
You can use abbreviated, but the fact if you use call sign, I'm happy. Some aircraft do not use call signs, and I have to go station who read that back.
I was going to say, because you don't know it's them,
No.
even if it sounds like
No.
them, you can't be certain it was.
Heard you say.
Yeah.
Out on station. So
Yeah.
also.
Because if you've got 3 or 4 on frequency, even if you've got 1 on frequency, do you still need to confirm that word again? Confirm who it was that read it back. I'm not Siri, I'm not voice recognition, I can't tell who it was. I need, and also for the sake of the tapes, if anything happens, if there's an incident or anything, I have every year my RT is sampled. A random sampling of my RT is taken. So whereas we sound we can be really picky with things, it's because I can be picked up on this as part of my ongoing 12-month assessment. So my RT has to be appropriate. I have to challenge people if things aren't read back. If I don't and something happens, they'll go, well, why didn't you confirm the Q&H amount? Why didn't you do this? So again, it's on the ground of safety, even though it sounds like we're just being, oh, she wants that again. Yeah, mandatory readback item. I will be checked on it.
What if, for example, you ask for report when the A320 is inside, and they say,
So to you, that means you'll let me know when you have it inside.
yeah, would you prefer Wilco or would you want that?
Well, if you manage to use the word report, it's not mandatory as such, is it? So it's that slightly.
So currently I understand and I will comply. Roger, okay. If I've got a string of A320s, I will specify which
Yeah.
one. We've all had traffic misidentified. We've all watched it happen. So this is why I'll confirm. Can you see number 2? Yes, they're going for number 1. No, negative. You're looking for number 2. It's an EasyJet. So you've got a Wizz Air, an EasyJet, and a Ryanair. I appreciate Ryanair don't fly A320s, so they've got 1 or 2. But you need to make sure that it is the correct aircraft they have in sight. Confirm number 2 on a 6-mile final. AFIRM.
That can be quite tricky because you might give it a type.
Yeah.
And if I'm looking, think, well, I can see its silhouette. That's about it. So it's much easier to say the, first, second, third, whatever.
Yes, yeah.
But I have fallen foul. I've done this before. Crossing Heathrow, they say, "Are you visual with the second or third landing?" I'm kind of like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, AFIRM. Well, I haven't spotted if there's 1 on about half-mile final blending into the background. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So I've gone back and sort of said, "Is that the?" And just trying to describe what I can see or where its position is.
Yeah.
Negative, it's this one. Oh, Jesus Christ,
And you're familiar with that airspace.
Yeah, that's right. So
you're going into somewhere new and you're not overly familiar with it.
No. And this is
You
where
might not know where those positions are.
Yeah.
No. And again, I appreciate I will always call staff along where you're going to be looking for inbound traffic that's currently on a 10-mile final. So I've now set you up thinking, okay, I'm going to be looking for something over here. but I know it's too far away, you're not going to see it.
Might be in the cloud.
It's definitely not this one here, that's next to me.
Yeah.
10 miles away.
And I would always say, I will update when it gets closer.
Yeah.
So I'm not putting the onus on you. I'm just giving you a little bit of situational awareness. You may have to hold for a short period of time, or I'll let you know what the situation is and what my expectations are. But again, I will update when it gets closer because I know that you're not going to be able to see it. And then I'll specify the airline, but they're not always in airline colours.
Yeah, and this could be hard for us.
This
to
is
see.
where I have no idea because I've got no visibility on the air freight. Or if it's in Ryanair colours, if it's in EasyJet colours, if it's got some special livery or anything like that, I have no idea. I have no idea. So that's why you might think you see it, but it's not the colours you're expecting. So if in doubt, ask.
It's fraught with danger, isn't it?
Time's gone on. You sort of see things happen. You can see how it happens so quickly. Yeah.
How easily it descends into chaos.
So that's why I'm belt and braces, and I'll reiterate things just to make sure you know, and I know that you know that we've got this pinned down.
People always say to me, "Oh, what's it like being based where you are?" I said, "It's great. It's when you get outside, it's like the Wild West."
Lions and tigers.
Because I actually get it's really comfortable place to be inside controlled airspace.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally when I get out Puckeridge and round that.
That is a busy.
It is like the Wild West.
I'd
much rather be
They've got the busiest city airspace in the entire UK, just through there.
When you
and up between Leicester and Stansted, isn't it? Pardon?
Yeah,
and up between sort of Stansted Luton and yes, and just out to the west.
Yes.
Yeah, round
Yeah.
here, this is in the UK, isn't it? It can be a bit.
As I said, on a sunny day, you can tell when you pass breakfast time.
Yeah.
And everyone's woken up to go flying.
Suddenly.
Because we go on a break, there's nothing there. Then you come back, 7,000, 7010, 0013, 7013s. You've got squawks everywhere. And everyone normally calls together for transit. I'm thinking, oh, they're all calling each other. So yeah, but it is very, very busy. Very
back from Henley, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
On Silverstone weekend.
Oh,
quite sporty.
Yeah, that gets that busy.
Yeah, Silverstone weekend.
Helicopters everywhere.
And they all look to transit the southwestern
Yeah.
corner of the Stansted Luton zone. So yeah.
And then there was a big airplane that landed that I couldn't see. I mean, this huge, great big thing, it was quite close, and I'm like,
It's like Father takes small, far
I can't
away.
see it.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't thinking up.
Of course, it's right.
But no, for Silverstone, the aircraft do not use their registrations; they use colours.
Yeah.
Pink, pink 3, orange, orange 4. Yeah, yeah. And I think you can't even say yellow, yellow 5. You know what I mean? But they're all on different colours. So for us trying to generate a strip, a lot of the time on the electronic strips, if it recognises the airframe, it will auto-populate your aircraft type. Can't remember if it does it for you or not. I'll have to let you know.
Yeah.
But some of them are well known, and it will put in the aircraft type as well.
What for GO?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I have to let you know if you're one of them
Yeah.
as well. Yeah. I can't remember because sometimes it will do it. But yeah, when you're not using the normal helicopter registration for things like, I think for Ascot as well, they use the colours in Silverstone. You're thinking, what are you?
The race is jockey.
Oh, yes. But they can go out as a jockey, then go in as something else, and you're
yeah.
thinking,
Very confusing.
yeah, and you don't realise it's a crew that you like, one of the Harrods people or that kind of thing. You don't realise it's one of yours because it's going under a call sign you're not familiar with.
Something we often do is prefix our call sign with helicopter. Is that in any way, shape, or form useful to you?
So I hadn't noticed this until you mentioned this last time.
Sorry.
And some of the commercial crews do
They
it.
do as well, yeah.
And it's only thought, well, actually, Paul mentioned this. So it can help on first call. Therefore, I know you're a helicopter, but it's not something we need all the time.
Does it not help other traffic though? Especially if other traffic are looking for me? Because you'll quite often say working with another aircraft.
Yeah. I would normally specify if you're fixed wing or rotary.
Yeah.
Again, that's just me.
After first call, drop the helicopter.
Drop the helicopter, yeah. I appreciate for some people it's almost like muscle memory.
Yeah.
But as long as you don't put helicopter in rather than put that in instead of golf.
You still want the golf, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rather than helicopter Zulu Zulu. You can just be golf Zulu Zulu. So just helicopter maybe on first call, but we don't need it all the time. But I know coming in here, you'll put it in because of the different combination of traffic.
Often at airfields, yeah, we have to sort of, it's helpful to specify we're in a helicopter because we don't need overhead joins, we come in low level and all sorts of things. So we often have to keep using the word helicopter to keep reiterating that we're in the helicopter.
See, to me, everyone looks alike on radar. You just have different speeds. But it's when I'm identifying you to other traffic, I will, if I'm calling traffic, 2 aircraft basic service heading towards each other, my duty of care, I'm talking to you both, I'll call traffic. I look down, check aircraft type. Helicopter traffic, 12 o'clock, same level. PA28 opposite direction, same level.
Most helicopter traffic, you don't understand why they don't want transit from the airspace as fast as it makes them.
All depends if you're going into wind or not. But yes, and that's the thing. I will always, I go around and I'll click on the ground speeds because, of course, we can, if you have enhanced mode C, I can see your indicated airspeed if I select it. But I will always go off ground speeds as well. That way you can also tell if you're going into wind and I've got my 3-minute global vector, then you're going to be there when I come back off my next break.
To get on the best speed. Best speed.
So I always take that into account when I'm looking to fit you through for a transit. I'll put my global vector on, which is a little green line that comes out the front of the aircraft contact on radar. I always have mine set to 3 minutes because that's my OCD. So I know in 3 minutes time, you'll either be near the airfield or at the zone boundary. So I'm now then figuring out against my arriving traffic that's hoovering along where you're going to fit.
Sometimes we're just not in a rush. No, we're not. No, genuinely, quite often, I'm just not in a ruch.
You're enjoying things.
Yeah, sorry, it depends on.
Being in it for the instructor, we come to Elstree, so those planes come in.
Yeah.
They're going to ask you to do best speed.
Yes.
And sure enough, we was best speed.
Best speed, yeah.
So there's no sense, it's 92 knots.
We'll take anything, yeah.
It must look funny sometimes if you ask us to hold wherever on the zone boundary, and we almost just stop on the screen because we're just slowed down with the headwind.
That's the
ground
beauty
speed
of
drop down to 10 knots or something. We're literally, why bother orbit? We just slow down and you can watch the show there, can't we?
It's the beautiful thing when it comes to the helimed and the police. Because they've got different categories of flight, the helimed you'll either hear is normally category alpha, helimed 55 alpha, for example, helimed 55 echo, or either cat A or cat E. The policeman's always cat bravo. That always wins over normal flights. So if I have to generate a gap because they're category A, which is life or death, I will start breaking stuff off. I'll start holding stuff off. The policeman, cat B, same thing. He will win over all arriving traffic. But if they can say we can slow down a bit, if they can see traffic, we can reduce our speed to go behind. Brilliant. They give me an option. And that's the beauty with helicopters. You can just stop and you're thinking, wonderful. Traffic in sight, A firm, above and behind, caution, wait, turbulence. So that's the beauty with helicopters. There's always ways and means you can make it work. Unlike fixed wing, you're just going to keep going 90k. That's it. We're sailing through. So, yeah.
But hence we feel it's sometimes useful just to know that it's we're in a helicopter, so we can.
Yeah, on first call again, we don't need it every time because again, it's just a few more syllables on RT. And as you've heard, when Luton starts to get busy, like with 100 frequencies,
so we actually slip into though quite often substitute the Golf for helicopter. It's
almost yeah. I do the same. I picked up my phone to the bank and called myself radar before now. You know what? Sorry. I wasn't thinking radar. No, I'm not. So yeah.
That's just my middle name, don't worry.
Change to that.
Good fraud prevention.
It probably is radar. Well, hello, what's she doing now?
Yeah.
Negative. Are you the back?
So on reducing syllables, is it like cut the pleasantries full stop? Because like
in theory,
sometimes it feels quite. You say, "Oh, God, today, thanks for the service." When I signed off, when I landed at the other end,
me, I'm says thank you, have a good day. So I'd be a total hypocrite. I think in an ideal world, when it gets busier.
Yeah, when it's busy, you know.
Yeah.
But when it's quiet, because you said it might sound quiet, but there's a lot going on over here you can't hear.
Yeah.
So is it like cut the pleasantries or just
be yourself? You know.
Yeah, judge it.
If you can normally hear if the RT loading is such, you'll hear when I drop the pleasantries, you know it's busy.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably one of the fluffiest people out there. But it's when you can tell, you can tell a busy radar frequency and when to keep words to a minimum, when not to speak, and when you do,
Is it back to pre-COVID levels? Because
I'd say so, yes.
yeah,
Certainly feels like
So
it.
it feels like it, yeah.
Especially Luton. Luton has got so much busier. It's Easton is for both airports the busier of the two ends. So if we're on runway 04, no, we will get a lot busier a lot quicker, just due to the complexity of inbound and outbound traffic. Just as an awareness, but it is incredibly busy.
04 is great for me. I can sleep at night.
Oh, I don't know where you live.
And getting in and out.
04 for us is, again, you would have heard from the loading. It is a long.
The second runway at Luton.
So again?
The second runway at Luton.
No comment.
I've just seen it's 8 o'clock already.
Oh wow.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. I've been just a discreet reminder from somebody back there. We've got our quiz next month on the 16th. There's still time to RSVP if you want to join us. That's at the pub, isn't it? Yes, of course it is. There's still spaces there, just about. Yeah, apparently so. So if you don't know about it, still want to come, 16th of December. Yeah, we're off to the three compasses, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. But anyway, just let us know. That'd be grand. There's some food and a bit of quizzing action, so it's good fun.
Nice.
Otherwise, just really thank you, Amanda.
No, thank
you
you
so much. I think it really helps and dispel a few myths of how scary air traffic control is.
Scary. I promise you. We can sound a bit intimidating when we get busy, but that's just because we have to keep things standard. But this is good for me as well. To me, it's really pivotal making sure I know what the GA community expect, what you see, what you expect, what I see and what I expect, and just bringing the two worlds together. And that's really important to me. And again, not being scared to talk to us.
It makes our world safer and yours, but also reduces the amount of infringements, doesn't it? Because you stand a fighting chance of stopping us from doing something you shouldn't be doing.
Totally. If we can
that's
see
only
that-
from frequency.
Yeah.
I'm talking to you.
Again, the frequency monitoring codes, even if you don't want to talk to us, just use that. I've said this before. I'm not obliged to tell you if you may enter controlled airspace. If I see that you might and I have the capacity, I will mention something. I did that one night for about 6 months ago to traffic on frequency that was heading for the Luton zone. I gave a little nudge and they did a left to group by 30. And I just said, thank you. Yeah. We didn't have to file. But again, if we can help you, we will do.
Yeah. Can I just say thank you? And if only all controllers were like Amanda, the world would be a better place. But thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us online.
Thank you
very
much.
Thank you very much.
Whereas, see some of you again soon, Bruce, etc.
Yeah, see you, Sadie.
Stay safe, and Stella. See you real soon.
Thank you. See you later.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Welcome. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.